Today we're going to read Proverbs chapter 19. We're reading from the New King James Version and the NLT version. And we have our notebook. Let's get right to it. Proverbs 19, verse 1. Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than one who is perverse in his lips and is a fool. Proverbs 19 NLT. Better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and a fool. What does that mean? So, a poor person in the Bible is referred to somebody that is suffering and is going through hardship. And they're saying that it is better to go through hardship than to be a liar, because you're a fool for choosing deception over honesty. Proverbs 19 verse 2. Also, it is not good for a soul to be without knowledge, and he sins who hastens his feet. New Living Translation. Enthusiasm without knowledge is no good. Haste makes mistakes. What does that mean? It is not good to be eager for something you have no knowledge of. And when you're in a rush, you crush. Your feelings are on the line, your success is on the line, and your happiness is at stake. New King James Version. The foolishness of a man twists his way, and his heart frets against the Lord. New Living Translation, verse 3. People ruin their lives by their own foolishness, and then are angry at the Lord. What does this mean? It means that a fool tends to blame his misery on God. Verse 4. Wealth makes many friends, but the poor is separated from his friend. Verse 4. Wealth makes many friends, poverty drives them all away. What does that mean? Riches attract and poverty repels, because no one is trying to suffer, no one is trying to be poor. Verse 5. A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who speaks lies will not escape. 5. A false witness will not go unpunished, nor will a liar escape. It means lies gets you in trouble, whether you do it one time or several times. Verse 6. Many entreat the favor of the nobility, and every man is a friend to one who gives gifts. 6. Many seek favors from a ruler. Everyone is the friend of a person who gives gifts. What does that mean? Gifts give you access to people. It puts you in their good books. Verse 7, New King James Version. All the brothers of the poor hate him. How much more do his friends go far from him? He may pursue them with words, yet they abandon him. 7, New Living Translation. The relatives of the poor despise them. How much more will their friends avoid them? Though the poor plead with them, their friends are gone. What does that mean? It's a burden to the family if you're poor. And even if you beg them, they will leave you alone. New King James Version 19, verse 8. He who gets wisdom loves his own soul. He who keeps understanding will find good. Verse 8, New Living Translation. To acquire wisdom is to love yourself. People who cherish understanding will prosper. What does that mean? People who value understanding thrive. To acquire wisdom is to keep learning, and if you keep learning, that's self-care. Verse 9. A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who speaks lies shall perish. Verse 9. A false witness will not go unpunished, and a liar will be destroyed. If you lie, you will face the consequences of your dishonesty. Verse 10. Luxury is not fitting for a fool, much less for a servant to rule over princes. Verse 10. It isn't right for a fool to live in luxury, or for a slave to rule over princes. What does that mean? It's not right to displace people. Everyone has their place. 11. The discretion of a man makes him slow to anger, and his glory is to overlook a transgression. 11. Sensible people control their temper. They earn respect by overlooking wrongs. What does that mean? You decide to ignore or to be angry. 12. The king's wrath is like a roaring lion, but his favor is like the dew on the grass. 12. The king's anger is like a lion's roar, but his favor is like dew on grass. What does that mean? A king's feeling towards you are always extreme. It could threaten your life or it could enhance your life. 13. New King James Version. A foolish son is the ruin of his father, and the contention of a wife are like continual dripping. 13. A foolish child is a calamity to a father. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as constant dripping. What does that mean? Let's begin with who is a foolish son. A foolish son is a son that refuses to learn and rejects the wisdom. Now, how does that affect the father going into ruins? Ruin in this context means loss of respect. So the son that doesn't want to learn and rejects wisdom brings the father to ruins. How? The respect for the father is lost. Now for the second part, an annoying wife. An annoying wife exhausts the household and the man. The dripping that they're referring to is like water dripping from a sink or from the roof. Tu, 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 tu. You see how annoying it gets after a while? That's how they're comparing an annoying wife to be. It's just like the water dripping. 14. Houses and riches are an inheritance from fathers, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. 14. Fathers can give their sons an inheritance of houses and wealth, but only the Lord can give an understanding wife. What does that mean? A father can give their children anything, but a good wife, a prudent wife, a wife that cares and is thoughtful, can only be gotten from the Lord. New King James Version 15. Laziness casts one into deep sleep, and an idle person will suffer hunger. 15. Lazy people sleep soundly, but idleness leaves them hungry. What does that mean? Okay, so let's break the words down. What's the difference between idleness and lazy? So an idle person is someone who has stuff to do but refuses to do it. And a lazy person is someone who is unwilling to do anything. So now, you have the freedom to sleep. You can decide to sleep if you're unwilling to work. But if you don't work at all, that's idleness. And if you're idle, you will not get food to eat because you refuse to work. If you avoid what feeds you, you will stay hungry. 16. He who keeps the commandments keeps his soul, but he who is careless of his ways will die. 16. New Living Translation. Keep the commandments and keep your life. Despising them leads to death. What does that mean? It means obey God and live. And if you pass away, you live on. But if you're careless, you end up dead. 17. He who has pity on the poor lends to the Lord, and he, the Lord, will pay back what he has given. 17. If you help the poor, you are lending to the Lord, and the Lord will repay you. So, what does this mean? God blesses those who give, For instance, if you were to give money to the poor, it's never money lost. You'll be paid back by the Lord. 18. Chasten your son while there is hope, and do not set your heart on his destruction. 18. Discipline your children while there is hope, otherwise you will ruin their lives. Ruin their lives? What does that mean? Discipline your children while you can, else you're grooming them to be terrible people. 19. A man of great wrath will suffer punishment, for if you rescue him, you will have to do it again. 19. Hot-tempered people must pay the penalty. If you rescue them once, you will have to do it again. What does this mean? It means don't excuse hot-tempered people. Don't excuse people who get angry easily, because then you would have to give excuses for them over and over and over again. There's no ending if you don't deal with them early on. Let them get humbled. 20. Listen to counsel and receive instruction, that you may be wise in your latter days. 20. Get all the advice and instruction you can, so you'll be wise the rest of your life. What does that mean? Be open to hearing out advice. It makes you wiser. 21. There are many plans in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the Lord's counsel will stand. 21. You can make many plans, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. His purpose will prevail. What does that mean? With all your plans, God's will be done at the end. 22. What is desired in a man is kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. 22. Loyalty makes a person attractive. It's better to be poor than dishonest. So what does this mean? It means that people like kind people. And in this context, someone who is kind is someone who is giving. And if you're greedy, that's a shame to you, because people don't like greedy people. And in this context, a liar is someone who deceives. If you're deceiving people that you don't got it, and that's greedy behavior. And no one likes someone who is greedy. Poor people, the people suffering, are better off than the person who is a deceiver, someone who lies. 23. The fear of the Lord leads to life, and he who has it will abide in satisfaction. He will not be visited with evil. 23. Fear of the Lord leads to life, bringing security and protection from harm. What does that mean? The fear of the Lord means living in reverence of God, living in a way that respects God, and this will secure you in every way possible. 24. A lazy man buries his hand in the bowl and will not so much as bring it to his mouth again. 24. Lazy people take food in their hand, but don't even lift it to their mouth. What does that mean? A lazy person is not ready to put in the work to not be hungry. 25. Strike a scoffer, and the simple will become wary. Rebuke one who has understanding, and he will discern knowledge. 25. If you punish a mocker, the simple-minded will learn a lesson. If you correct the wise, they will be all the wiser. What does that mean? First, let's break it down. Who is a scoffer? A scoffer is someone who is arrogant and mocks wisdom. Everything that seems right and smart, they make fun of it because they're too proud to receive the wisdom. And what this verse is saying is that people who mock wisdom should be punished so that those who don't know any better will learn a lesson from it. And it's also saying that if you correct a wise person, they will get wiser. 26. He who mistreats his father and chases away his mother is a son who causes shame and brings reproach. New Living Translation 26. Children who mistreat their father or chase away their mother are an embarrassment and a public disgrace. This means that if you do that, it's a shameful act, so stop. 27. Cease listening to instruction, my son, and you'll stray away from the words of knowledge. 27. If you stop listening to instruction, my child, you will turn your back on knowledge. If you turn your back on knowledge, that makes you stupid, right? So what does this mean? If you stop listening, it's like running away from knowledge. 28. A disreputable witness scorns justice, and the mouth of the wicked devours iniquity. 28. A corrupt witness makes mockery of justice, and the mouth of the wicked gulps down evil. What does this mean? It means that there wouldn't be any justice if the witness wants to hurt someone. 29. New King James Version. Judgments are prepared for scoffers, and beatings for the back of fools. 29. Punishment is made for mockers, and the backs of fools are made to be beaten. What does that mean? It means that people who make fun of wisdom will be judged, and people who refuse to learn deserve beatings. Thank you very much for staying to the end of Proverbs chapter 19, and that's a wrap.